Hi, my name is Samuel. I'm the founder and the CTO of Pozyx. And at Pozyx, we create all kinds of solutions, hardware and software solutions for location tracking, mostly for manufacturing, warehousing, and logistics. And we work with a network of partners that can help us deploy and then manage these systems at our customers or with their customers. And so today I'm here with one of our partners, Gemba Systems. And here we have Stijn, the founder of Gemba Systems, here today to join us.
Thanks for having me.
How are you, Stijn?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So to start, just tell us a bit about Gemba Systems. What do you do? What do you focus on?
Gemba Systems is a manufacturing solutions provider. So we help manufacturing companies solve problems, basically. Through the use of technology, we try to apply technologies that are helpful, practically helpful, solving real-world problems in real-world environments. So you could say we're an implementation partner, an integrator, and an educator a lot of times as well. We educate and inspire people as to what capabilities are out there in the world that they can apply to their problems.
So Gemba, I've always found it a very intriguing name.
Yeah.
I guess most people don't know what it means, but maybe you can explain it a little bit.
Well, it's just a Japanese term, right? People in manufacturing, especially folks that have a background in lean manufacturing, like the Toyota production system, they'll be quite familiar with Gemba, a Japanese term for the shop floor. It's the place where the value is created, whether it's a manufacturing shop floor or a hospital or wherever the work's being done. So it's the place where the value is created, but it's also the place of truth, based on the Japanese understanding and philosophy. And so it's Gemba and Gemba Systems. The systems part refers to the collaboration and alignment between people, processes, and technology that need to work together to create value at Gemba, if that makes sense.
All right. So you're mostly focusing on processes on the shop floor.
Yeah, and the shop floor, mainly manufacturing shop floor. We more recently got exposed to some other types of environments like data centers, and we've done some healthcare, but 95% of what we do is manufacturing shop floors.
All right. Yeah. I know data centers are very hot lately. That's true. But the backbone is still manufacturing. Absolutely.
I love manufacturing. Been in manufacturing for 25 years now. I'm getting old. I used to have real jobs doing manufacturing things in manufacturing companies. And now I'm just a service provider to folks in manufacturing.
Yeah, which is also
it's fun too.
So what type of customers and problems do you typically solve using the Pozyx system?
Yeah. So when we started Gemba Systems, we did some other technologies because the Industry 4.0 world is kind of big. Augmented reality, virtual reality, all kinds of things. Eventually, we in the course of COVID, we kind of made a pivot towards this new technology that was used at the time for contact tracing. And then we figured out, wow, you cannot just do this contact tracing, which we didn't really care about all that much, but you can actually track things like jobs, for example, in a job shop environment. That gets kind of complicated because everything is everywhere and can flow every which way, and it's really hard to keep track of it. So we're like, are you kidding me? This RTLS thing exists, it's existed, and I have never heard of it. And you can just put a tag on something and know where it is and know where it's been and know how it flows and know where it gets stuck and know how long it sits somewhere, if it's too long or too short or too close or too far or too little or too much. I mean, it's like mind-blowing. So I was sold, and that was about 5-6 years ago now, that we got exposed to real-time locating systems and started solving problems. The most basic one you were asking for problems, right? It's just knowing where things are. That's where it all starts. And now we build on that.
Yeah. All right. And by then implementing or putting such a system in place, have you seen some interesting results of that, or maybe behavioral changes or things like that?
Yeah, for sure. That's why we're so passionate about RTLS, right? It's kind of the easiest system with like the highest probability for success, if you will, of anything that I've ever seen. I mean, it's not that hard to do. You just throw the locators, the anchors on the wall, put the tags on the items, and you know where they are, and you can start tracking and triggering. That's the whole other thing, right? Once you know where it is, you know where it's going, you know when it enters or exits certain areas, geofenced areas and virtual zones, which can send signals to folks. So some of the things we've seen, like one example that was pretty powerful was a manufacturing plant, job shop, making a discrete manufacturing environment. Let's put it that way. And so they have all kinds of processes. They have a bunch of mills and lathes and some assembly and punch presses and all kinds of stuff. But in this case, it started with a saw, chopping long stock metal, different types of metals into pieces of a certain length. And then eventually that part has to get processed in certain ways, mills and all those things, and make its way to a welding cell. But there's another part that has to get welded to these items that gets brought from the warehouse. Well, what they used to do was they used to release the jobs and take the items from the warehouse and drop them in the welding booth area, and then send the other part through all these processes. And 2 weeks later, that's where they end up. I was going to say hopefully. They always end up there some way or another. But then the thing is, you no longer find those original parts that were dropped off 2 weeks earlier. And so the people in the weld booths, welders are in short supply, and their job's not finding stuff, but that's what they were doing. They were searching for stuff all day long. And as a result, there was a 41-day backlog in front of the welding booths. It was the bottleneck. They couldn't get through it. It was extending lead times. It was upsetting customers. And all we did was put a geofenced area around the welding area. And we released the jobs with only the part that had to get processed. The other parts that had to come straight from the warehouse shelves, we did not release those picks yet until the first part ends up in the geofence at the welding zone. Then we release the other parts. Same day, they get brought to the pre-processed items. And the people in the welding booths, all they had to do was come out of the booth, pick the next bin, drag it in, weld it together, and go. So they basically, in a matter of 1 week, melted away the entire 41 days of backlog, and it was phenomenal. I mean, all of a sudden, that was no longer the bottleneck. So that was one of the most powerful ones that I've seen. We also work with customers that do a lot of expedites, and in order to, they charge extra for the expedites. But if you charge somebody whatever % extra to expedite their job, you better get it done on time. And so now with tracking, they've made literally millions of dollars. Upselling their, some part of their capacity gets dedicated to expedited business that is very, very profitable. So we have aerospace companies that are basically tracking rework. Like sometimes it's 6 rework loops, and nobody really knows. It's part of a hidden factory. The amount of waste in a typical manufacturing plant is very significant, but it's really hard to visualize it, to measure it, until you put a tag on it, right? So. Yeah.
And I guess that's maybe a bit the difference of how it used to be before. Maybe you took one snapshot where you would like measure all the waste in your processes, and then then people might even behave differently when you were measuring this.
Yeah, for sure.
But now you're just measuring this all the time. And
it's one of the applications, right? I tell people that we can address all the 7 wastes of lean, as they refer to it, like transportation and inventory and motion and weighting and all the other stuff. So the human ingenuity part is that 8th missed opportunity that a lot of people have. So once you have the infrastructure, people start solving problems. Like they don't have enough forklifts, they feel, and they have no way to justify the fact that they need an extra forklift. So they start putting tags on the forklift tracking utilization and showing that if my forklift's utilized 80% of the time, it's a little much. We're short. But the other guys, by the way, they're not. They're sitting on massive amounts of forklifts that they don't need, they don't use them, obviously, because we're tracking it. Why don't we get one of theirs, right? Rebalance things a bit. So I was referring to the 7 wastes and then all, the missed opportunity in manufacturing because of the hidden factory. There's time and motion studies is what people try to do still today, good old school manner with stopwatches and these spaghetti diagrams. With RTLS, you do time and motion studies all the time, and at the same time. The time and the motion is combined. You can retrace wherever everybody's been going in a cell from one station to the next, doing what they do, multiple people at the same time. Also forklift travel, you can basically see if the plan for every part is all lean type of stuff. But you're planning for materials management to work a certain way and for people to provide certain parts at certain times in certain quantities to certain stations. It's not easy to plan it out, but it's doable, but it's a whole lot harder to execute consistently. And also to detect when people deviate from the plan. And that's where the gold is at. You have to know people aren't following the plan in order to understand why they're not following the plan, so you can try to figure out how to solve the problem at the root cause, right? I'm getting on my lean manufacturing high horse here a little bit. But RTLS is the awesomest technology that I've ever found that allows for people to do those types of things in an easy kind of way.
Yeah, yeah, and it's probably also not just in the real-time location system, the real-time location that matters, but also, yeah, if you look back in the past, you have this context of how things moved, and if some incident did happen, you can actually trace back and see what led up to this.
Yes,
right?
exactly. So you can put trackers on every material handling piece of equipment, whether it's a forklift or even a pallet jack or a mobile robot, and know who was in there right away when there was a near miss. So yeah, you can, all the historical data is where it's really at, because nowadays data is gold, right? I've said it for a long time, but it's getting more and more that way based on AI.
Yeah.
If you don't have data, you don't have AI, at least no useful AI.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
you can
true.
talk to a chatbot, but it's not going to know anything about your operation. If you put RTLS tags on all your, everything that moves in a plant, whether it's a forklift or a pallet jack or a cart, a bin, a pallet, potentially even people, not necessarily Jeff and Jimmy and John, but production operator, call it maintenance technician, quality technician,
operator,
anonymous, semi-anonymous. At least you know where the maintenance technicians are spending their time, or the quality technicians, or the operators for that matter. Like, why are they leaving their station? When they're manning a station, the materials typically should be brought to them, rather than them going on golden goose chases to try to find the next batch of stuff to run, and then the machine's sitting and your OEE plummets. I mean, with RTLS, you have all this visibility. Like some of our customers, actually, we send alerts out to the supervisors when the right materials are not where they need to be in time, with escalation procedures. So we can monitor buffers at all time, knowing exactly how many jobs are lined up in the inbound queue for every machine, and compare it to plan, compare it to the schedule, and modify, depending on reality, but also just trigger sometimes last minute, hey, something's off, somebody better do something before the machine stops. So yeah, I'm kind of passionate about it, because it's
I can definitely sense that.
I love it. It's a never-ending gift.
Yeah. And maybe to come into the AI part that you were mentioning, to maybe give a little bit of a preview of what we're planning to do. So over time, I see that it will become possible to just chat about your operations, and it will provide you, based on the real-time location system, more context. And you have like this chat interface. But so I'm expecting this maybe later.
Where's my bottlenecks? Why am I having bottlenecks? The system will be able to tell you, but you have to start tracking things now. You have to start tagging things, collect the data.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you deploy an RTLS system at these plants, what is typically the role of Gemba? Maybe before and during, and then after that system is deployed?
It starts with solving the problem, right? Somebody comes to us because they have a problem. Otherwise, there's nothing. They have to have a problem. And the thing is, the kind of the fun thing is, everybody has the same problems. They need to know where things are, and where they've been, and where they get stuck, and where they get lost, or prevent them from getting lost in the first place. So the problems are pretty consistent. There's a wide range of them, though. We have about 350 different use cases identified for RTLS. So it's broad, whether it's quality related, maintenance related, materials management related, EHS, environment, health, safety. So there's such a broad applicability. Once the infrastructure is there, you just slap more tags on more things. That's all you got to do. So what do is we help with the initial solutioning based on the initial problem. And basically, we scope out the project. It's solution architecting, right? Because it's a very simple system to implement, but you still have to decide where do you place the anchors, and what type of tags do you deploy in which kind of way, and define the process of tag asset association and disassociation and recycling. So we teach a lot. Like, we educate people how this works, and we define or we customize the standard kind of processes a bit to their environment and their situation and their products and the way they do things. We integrate with systems they have, not always. Oftentimes customers do that themselves, or you don't even have to have integration. That's another really cool about RTLS. Without integrating it with anything, no ERP, no MES, nothing, you can have massive benefit. You can get quick wins quickly, and then use your savings to start integrating it with other systems to make it even more powerful in the next phase. So we can do the integrations, we can do custom solution design, development, software coding, and then we typically like to have a relationship with the customer after the initial implementation, where we ideate on these additional use cases with them, so that we can have like a additional benefit over time, based on a prioritization of what all are the opportunities and in what order should we implement these things. And then they just somehow enjoy working with my team on layering the value, layering the benefits, one thing after the next.
Because that's sometimes also a challenge, that you need to have this one initial business case that is big enough to
justify the project.
Exactly, but if people can get over that hump, then all of a sudden, the ROI becomes very strong.
If it's companies that are like resource constrained, capacity constrained, and if only they could like free up 1% extra, make their available capacity just 1% more productive, and they can sell that, the ROI is like blindfolded. I know there's ROI. It's very easy. If you can improve your OE with just 1-2%, it's just even less than one is break even for most places within 1 year. I'm talking. So it's not that hard if people are capacity constrained. When all people care about is headcount reduction as a result of implementing the system, I'm less passionate about that, because we care for jobs and for people. We like for people to be enabled and empowered with technology to do more, to produce more, to be more competitive, and to basically take more market share from all the other guys that decided not to work with us yet. But when we with the customers we work with, the payback periods are about a year or less. It's one of the fastest returning technologies that I've ever seen, and most slam dunk, least amount of an insecurity. Like it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. It's also cool, but it's not just cool. It's powerful. It's real. It's practical, right? So you can't have ROI by implementing it in one tiny little corner of the plant. Ideally, you track the flow all the way through, right? So you do have to,
commit to a
That's
certain
it.
extent.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But it's not the most expensive technology out there by a long shot. So I think it should be kind of an easy decision for most people. The problem is most people aren't aware that it exists.
Okay.
And then you go to people and you show them, and they go like, "Holy smokes, where's this stuff been? Once you've seen it, you cannot unsee it.
Yeah.
I want it, and I want it now." I'm like, "Well, let's go."
All right. That's super nice. So you've worked now with the Pozyx system for several years now.
6 years, I think. Yeah.
So what do you like about the Pozyx system? What do you say is really
I think the one thing is how easy it is, right? You can put it on the wall pretty much every which way. You could put it upside down if you wanted to. Don't.
I wouldn't recommend it. But
it's not recommended, but it works. It still kind of does work. It's very robust, so it's very fail-proof. And we've had it up for many years now, and it doesn't shut down. It just keeps going. So it's very dependable. Once it works, it works every time every time we leave the plant at a customer, it works, right? And once it works, it works. It keeps working. So it's very easy, and it's accurate too. That's another thing, because we have experience with other systems, other technologies. It's very accurate. It's amazing, how robust it is. We've been in really rough environments, like steel coil storage in a mill environment, like steel stacked 15 feet tall on big rolls, narrow spaces in between, and we're able to track where every roll is. It's amazing. It's almost incredible. We've actually buried tags in bins of steel parts. In the end, you end up losing it, but the last known position is right there, so you can go right back to it.
So, but being the advocate of the devil a little bit, why do you need that accuracy? You say it's very accurate, but
we try to sell people on a pallet space accurate. We're not trying to tell them it's centimeters accurate or inches, because nobody really cares so much about inches or centimeters, except for maybe robotics people. Pallet space is plenty good enough, and that's what most people care about, but it has to be dependable pallet space accuracy, right? Not a pallet space here, and then all of a sudden it's a 18-wheeler accuracy over there, So I just like it because I know what we'll get.
So, and how did your experience with Pozyx evolve over time? So long ago, the system was still completely different, and we developed more things. How do you see that evolution? And then also maybe the market, how did the market evolve over this period of time?
Maybe starting with the market, right? I think there's more awareness in the market, so there's more companies that are actively adopting this, especially the larger companies that we've been working with over the last couple of years that are actually scaling it across all their plants. Mid-market still lagging a little bit, but we have some plans there to take Pozyx to more of the mid-market companies, especially in our near and dear, closer by territory, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. The Pozyx itself, I think 5-6 years ago when we started, it was like a dot on a map, right? There's a dot, and you can say right here, it's kind of where the dot's at. It was good, we knew where things were, but now with the platform, it's an entire off-the-shelf ready solution that gives you all the insights and analytics and so much more, right? Still, backed by the RTLS capabilities that are as good as they ever were, but it's just more ready out of the box where people, even like us, we don't have to do as much custom development for people. We don't have to, integrate with anything because the value is right there. So yeah, I think that's the big thing. The platform is very significant. And then I'm excited most recently about the additional form factors on the tags and the technologies, like expanding to Bluetooth and GPS. Our ultra-wideband is the Cadillac or the Rolls-Royce capability, accuracy-wise, right? I love ultra-wideband, but sometimes people want to track certain lower value items, or there is certain situations where it just makes sense to have a simpler Bluetooth tag on something. Or if they ship it in between facilities and they want to track it with GPS, they can do that now as well. So I think those are two of the most significant evolutions.
Yeah. All right. So we hope that it evolves in the right direction. Yeah. All right. So looking ahead, how do you see location technologies evolving even further, and maybe how do you see the adoption within the industry moving further in the next 5 or even 10 years?
I think adoption is going to just continue to increase. Large companies are rolling it out across all their facilities. Mid-market companies are lagging behind a bit, but I think once they start seeing their competition implement this type of technology with success, they'll start, taking their chances, if you will, because they're risk averse by nature. So they want to see somebody else be successful before they try it. So that's one thing. Then also all the different types of technologies, like you guys are working on GPS and Bluetooth and all that. It's important to have a broad offering of different kind of form factors, technologies, the simpler tags, the batteryless tags, potentially throw it all in the mix. Be a total solution, kind of, be able to solve problems in different environments for different types, for even more use cases. So I see that happening in a market, including with what you guys are doing. Continue to even simplify the deployments even further as far as data connectivity and powering, which is another thing that I know you guys are working on. So that makes me excited as well, just to make the installs even easier, right? So that will further decrease the complexity, the cost, the timelines, just make it easier. And then I think the adoption, everything's about automation and robotics nowadays, and people are getting all crazy about humanoids and stuff. But you still kind of want to know where your humanoids are. And I'm always surprised when people implement robots, even the AMRs, right, or the AGVs. They don't really know where they are. They end up shutting down for whatever set or reason on the shop floor because they got confused or something, and they shut down, and then they have to go find where the robot is. It's crazy. So just put a tag on it already, so at least you know where it's at. Or get robots that are RTLS enabled, that one, don't get lost as easily, and that for sure are able to tell you where they are when they need a hand, when they get in trouble for whatever reason. So I think robotics and automation can benefit big time from RTLS, with or without mobile robots, right? Because simple tagged items, putting them in a certain place, can be a trigger for a replenishment. It's like an e-Kanban. So tons of opportunities are there for people to automate their material flow using tagged items.
Yeah. And I think to add on that, I think there's indeed the big hype is these dark factories where you can just have robots to run it all. But of course the robots need to know where the things are that they need to work with. And it's even more challenging in a mixed environment where you have people and robots at the same time, because it's not a closed system. And people move things and the robot moves things, and
I know large companies that have talked for 15-20 years about lights out factories, and those are really powerful global corporations, and they cannot do it at this point. there's famous examples of certain people out there in the world, not to say Elon Musk, that have tried to go dark in their plants and have come back from that. There's still a lot of value in having people with the flexibility that people provide to keep things running smoothly, assisted by robots. As long as there's humans around, though, you can't rely on the last known position of an item. People are going to move things around because they have to dig for something and they have to shove something aside, and robots are still not always capable of, in a very flexible manner, realizing that whatever I was sent to come pick up here is actually moved over there. I mean, if it's only that far away, sure, the chances are they'll find it. But if somebody moved it further than that, then the robot is all over the place trying to hunt for the item, just like a human would, right? So yes, you have to know where things are. Robots as well.
Robots as well.
Yeah.
And I think with that, we can conclude this super nice conversation we had. Thank you very much, not only for being here, but also for being a very good partner over the past year. So
thanks for being a good partner to us.
Thank you very much. All right.
Alrighty.